part of learning this software. So there are plenty of learning resources. If we use the old versions of ArcGIS, there were manuals, books from early 90s. There were a lot of books related to the ArcGIS manuals. But nowadays, we are not getting those books. We are having online resources. So these are related with them. So let's click 1 or 2 and see. So if you click on this, it will guide you to an online resource. And see. So there are tutorials and few tutorials listed here, some main tutorials. If you want to learn more tutorials, you can go to this link and open tutorial main page. So let's check some tutorials here. This is a tutorial. So this is about creating a project. So in Pro, the projects are the key components of managing data. So in a project, there can be many components. So this tutorial guides you through this project creation workflow. And if you want to create a map project, you have to start from a map template. Then you have to give a location and a name to create the project. So this tutorial is guiding you to creating a project from the scratch. So then after that, there are some other activities you can do with this tutorial. So each and every tutorial, there's a short video which you can play and learn. It's like a summary. So nowadays you are working with a lot of short videos. So there's a short video for learning that, but we also recommend you to learn from the tutorial. Then you learn the theoretical part also with the software tools and functions. So that is important. So this page guiding you to the tutorials, and then here you can see what is new. So every version, there's a new features and functionalities coming into the software. So in upcoming version in ArcGIS Pro, there will be AI assistance as well. So now they are tested in beta level. So likewise, this what is new feature is guiding you to have the understanding of new features coming into the software. And then there's a very important part in this learning page, the virtual academy. So let's click here and see this virtual academy. So this one is a wonderful learning resource where you can have a lot of courses. So let me click on this academy. So there are different types of courses under this virtual academy. So now here you can see a new course called Make an Impact with Modern Geo Apps. This is starting from April. So it's a free course. You can register and learn these modern geo apps. So we are also giving you kind of a preparation work for this type of course. This is called a massive online course. So these are important for learning, and also you will be able to obtain a certificate, e-certificate after the training completion. So likewise, there are catalogs here. So these catalogs guiding you to have different types of courses. So here you can see courses, instructor-led, MOOC, story maps. Likewise, there are different categories. So the web courses, you will be able to get certificates. So if someone wants to learn this particular course, ArcGIS Pro Basics, so you can create an account here, my ES3 account, And this is a publicly available course. It's a free course. So after completing this course, you will be able to get a certificate, e-certificate, and you can have that in your profile or LinkedIn profile. So it will be a value addition for you. So likewise, there are courses in this catalog. And for the especially customers, there are courses here. You can see some courses are required history maintenance program. So these are for customers. So here there's a WebGIS application called Experience Builder, a web app builder. So this is especially for customer organizations which require a maintenance program. So we also encourage you to have that type of engagements to have more and more courses in this site. But don't worry, as students, even you can learn a lot from these free courses. Right. So these are the resources available at the learning page. So let's move into the settings. Here you will be able to see some settings related applications and some options. So in these options, we can further customize this software. In the general options, you can change the application theme. So if you are not comfortable with light colors like the white color screen, so you can turn this into a dark skin and you can work with that particular skin after changing the mode. And also you can use here some other settings, like let's go to another setting here. Map and scene. So in every project, there's a base map. So we can add a background map. Some maps actually coming from internet. So imagery hybrid, base maps with satellite images, and then there are some other maps also. There are dark gray maps, some canvas type maps, and also the Nat Geo maps, OpenStreetMap. So likewise, there are different base maps. If required, you can select a default base map from here and have that in your project. If not, you can have none option, then you will get a blank background. A blank background. After that, if required, you can add the base map. So likewise, you can customize your application further using the settings option. So sometimes it is easy for handling the software when we do small customizations. Right. So those are based on your requirements. When you are familiar with the software, you can do more customized settings, changes in this section. Right, let's close this. I'm going back to the home. I'm going to create a project. So let's create a project here. So when we create a project, we need to do two things. One is we have to give a project name. So this name is important because name components. So there is a database also created with this name. So you should give type of meaningful names without some unusual characters. Maybe you can use very simple form of letters to use this type of project. So let's create a project here. I'm giving a sample name like project 1. And then you have to select a location to save the project. So let's open a location. So I'm going to use desktop. So let's click OK. So when we are working in the real environment, so we are not usually saving our projects in the desktop, because the reason is desktop is in the C drive, and most of the time, if something happened to the operating system, the machines can be formatted. So therefore, we always encourage people to use other drives to store the software, actually store the projects, and then work on that. So in this case, since this is a training program, we will create a project in the desktop.
Hello.
Right. So now the project has been created.
Supun, we can't hear you. You are also muted.
Can you hear?
Yes, now okay.
Okay, right. Okay. So let's this data. Let's see. So there are some sample data. So we'll share data with you. And so this data set, very small data set. There are few folders. Actually, I have given. One is for the introduction. So there are some links here. What is GIS link? And also the slides I have used. Then the second one, there are some application links available for you. Then third one, there are some data, right? So these three I'll use. There will be more folders with the other sessions, right? So let's go back to the software. So first we'll take this header section. So this section you can see a toolbar. So this is called quick access toolbar. So this is the only toolbar available in Pro environment. So this is for quick work. For example, you can create a new project or maybe save your existing project. Then there are some other buttons here. If you required, you can add more tools into this section. So you can add different tools by checking on these items. Right. So this one, let's save the project again. So time to time, you can save the project from this tool, or you can say Control S. So when you take your mouse pointer into a particular tool or button, you will be able to see a tooltip. So this is a very good way of learning the software, any software, by reading this small tooltip. So it gives you an understanding on the key functionality of a particular item. So here you can see several buttons. So after this particular area or this toolbar, you can see a ribbon-driven architecture. So here there's a ribbon. This goes to the settings area or the project area, the project view area. So we can go back from here. Then we'll move into the second ribbon called map. So this is a main ribbon. So this ribbon, there are some other tools and groups. So this is the hierarchy. Any ribbon, there can be tool groups like this. Within a tool group, you can see different buttons. So the similar functionalities are organized here. For example, map. There are navigation related tools. This tool is for exploring. These are zooming related tools. And then bookmarks are there. Likewise, navigation related or the map navigation related tools are organized in this tool group or the section. Here, again, you can see another section, layer. So this section, you can see base maps, add data, and other ways of adding data. So there are XY related data sets like maybe locations you have collected during a field survey. And there are some other options as well. Then you can see selection related tools. So you can select different features in the map. So these tools are organized. Maybe some of you familiar with those tools when you are using ArcMap. Now the tools are there. The organization of the tool has been changed. So there are new changes in the different locations, but the functionalities are similar. Let's use some tools here. Let's use this base map. Let's click on this base map. So I'm going to select a base map like imagery hybrid. So actually base map is a background reference layer. So let's click on this and see. So it's coming from internet. So you should have an internet connectivity to add the base map. So some base maps actually your organizations can produce. If you have base data sets, you can upload or publish that as a base map and then take or share within your organization. So that is also possible. But here now we are taking a publicly available base map. So in this base map, you can see two different components or layers listed here. So the name of the base map is World Imagery. So let's check this base map. Let's go to the properties. You can right click on the base map. Then we can check the properties. So there's a general tab, metadata, and some other features. So now there are two selections. Let's click again. Here you can see a source tab. So let's click this source. Now this is coming from a different location. It's coming from a server. It's not in your computer. So here you can see the URL of that service. And also you can see some other units and related things. And let's check a very important item here called spatial reference. Right. Here you can see the coordinate system used in this particular base map. It is the global coordinate system called WGS 84 Web Mercator Auxiliary Sphere. This is actually a projected coordinate system, a flat coordinate system available for the world. So when you take these web maps, this coordinate system is used. But in our country, there are different coordinate systems. Okay. So let's use this base map first. I'll explain a little bit more about coordinate systems. So let's zoom this area, maybe around Sri Lanka, let's zoom, or around Asia. So you can zoom. So here in the navigate section, there's a tool called explore. It can do multiple activities. So when you have a mouse, you can use your left click, right click, scroll button for different activities with this tool. So you can zoom in, zoom out using the scroll button, and you can pan like this way. And when you click, you will be able to derive a pop-up like this. So in Pro environment, the base maps are drawing very quickly. So the architecture is designed for having these WebGIS related layers and the performance of the layers in a very fast way. So you can see it can draw the base map in a fast mode like this. Okay. So then let's go back here. I'll switch into another base map. Maybe let's go to a different base map like OpenStreetMap. So this area we call content. So this content is changing according to the items in this view. Here you can see a map view. According to that, the content is updating. So now you can see the OpenStreetMap here. Then let's zoom out a bit like this. So we use this tool, base map, and we inserted a base map. And then you can see the different base maps like this way. So there are some base maps just for effective visualizations. For example, the canvas related base maps like dark gray canvas. So this is for certain applications. Sometimes we use very luminous symbols like nighttime data kind of things. Then we are using this dark gray canvas to get a better contrast in the map. Okay, so let's add some other layers. So here there's a add data button for adding the data. Add data button. So let's add some data. So this button is not just a single way of adding the data. So there are multiple ways of adding data. So you can browse and add the data from path. Then you can directly add from a table here. Maybe if you have an Excel sheet, you can directly add that sheet and creating points from this tool. So likewise, there are several options of adding the data. So let's quickly add the data from the basic option. So when you're adding data also, you will have different options. So you can just use your local computer. Let's see, this PC. It is my local computer. So we can add data from the local computer, maybe from a folder location. Or you can use a portal, web-based data locations. So there are web-based data repositories which we can use for adding data. So that means it is not limited for computer or data copy or copied data in the computer. So there are other options of adding data. So if you have ArcGIS online account, you can directly add those data from your online account, maybe from your content or your online organization. Or there are publicly available data sets as well. Let's check some of these data like Living Atlas. Right. So let's add some layers. So let's search for some keywords. So there are different earthquake related data. So I'm going to add recent earthquakes. Let's add it. So that layer is coming from an online source. So let's add that. So you can see a point layer and it's updating real time. So let's zoom in. And we can expand the legend here. So there are earthquakes with different magnitudes. So you can check the source of this data. So let's click on some points. So here you can see the attributes of this particular layer. So this window, when you are clicking on a feature, you are getting a window. We call this feature pop-up. So in a feature pop-up, you will see attributes, but there are different styles of doing this. Not just as a table view, you can get this in different styling methods. So now you can see some other links also. Let's click and see. So it is guiding to the original source of the data, USGS website, because they are the most prominent organization related with the earthquake measurements. And also you can check the tsunami warning related data. So let's click again and see. So that is again another organization called NOAA. It's like NASA. NOAA is prominently using the weather-related data and the oceanography related information. So they are very prominent on that segment. So those data sets linked here to a particular feature layer. So it's not an isolated layer. So let's check some other layers also from this Living Atlas. For Sentinel or Landsat data, we can check here. So here you can see Sentinel-1, Sentinel-2, some satellite imagery layers where we can use for certain applications. So let's end and see. So these data sets are available for the downloads also, but when you are working in a particular project, sometimes you can use them directly through this option. So this is Sentinel views. Let's zoom. Now you can see the areas covered in this layer. And also you can see a time slider here, right? There's a time slider where we can slide the data and see various different time periods. So let's check the properties of this layer. So the source tab, we'll check this. So this is the source of the data. And let's check the raster information. So the cell size is 10 by 10. So that's 10-meter resolution data. And there are some other details related with this. And also the spatial reference used here. It's also mentioned in the source tab. So as a practice, you should check this source, right? Even you are taking data from an online source, maybe from an organization in the country for a research work or any project related work, you should check your data before you. So here you can see some Sentinel views. So let's can drag these time sliders and check again. Right. Likewise, there are data sets not just available, and you can just use them as a layer in your map. So let's right click these layers now. And also you can remove these layers from the contents if it is not required. So I'll remove some of these layers now.
Hari sir.
Okay. Right. So we have used some options here. One option is the base map. And also we used a data button for adding some online data into the map. So this is a one map in this document or the project. So let's see the project now. So where's the location of this project? I actually saved this project in my desktop. Let's check that. So there's a folder in my desktop called Project 1. So let's open this. So here you can see some items. So this is the project document. So let's check this file format. This file format is APRX. So this is the file format in ArcGIS Pro. So in ArcMap, we had MXDs. Here, APRX. But with that, there are some other items. So this folder, you can manage your data. So that is the most important thing. So it is encouraging to have a proper management of the data without having data in different locations. So let's go back to the software. So I'm going to close this map because I already created some data, or we added some data here. So I'm going to close this. Now I don't have any map in this project. I can't see that. So let's insert another map. So now I'm moving from the map ribbon to the insert ribbon. So let's click a new map. So again, it's a blank map. Now I would like to point you to another ribbon called View. There you will find some windows. So one window is called Catalog window. Let's click and open it. So this window, you will be able to see some items or nodes. So there's a node called Maps. So here you can see two maps now. So if I double click this one, I will be able to open my previous map. So I can close it and keep it there. So this is my new map. So if you want a copy of this one, you can copy and maybe you can paste. Then you have another map, another copy. So that means you can manage the map views from this catalog. So you will be able to manage. You can copy, paste, or delete these maps. Or maybe if you want to have a duplicate map, you don't need to start it from the beginning. You can just take a copy of the original map. So now I have two identical maps and a blank map also. Right. Let's go to the next node. It is called toolbox. So if you have a particular workflow, maybe an automated workflow. For example, you are daily doing several activities. So sometimes you may need to do that in a proper way by creating a model or maybe a Python script. So this is a repository for creating those items. So when you right click, you can point to new and create model, script or tool set. So especially the students or the researchers who are doing analysis, it's better to create models. Then you can rerun and get different results by changing the parameters. Otherwise, you have to do all the steps again and again. So that is very important and it can be managed through the project. Then you can see databases. Here there's a database called Project One. And the extension is .gdb. So this is the most recommended database type in ArcGIS Pro. This is called File Geodatabase. So when you click on a folder, let's click on a project folder here. In any folder, you will be able to create different types of geodatabases. The prominent one is file geodatabase. So there are two other options like mobile geodatabases and database connections in the enterprise geodatabase applications. This is for centralized data management applications. Right. So let's go to the geodatabase. So this is for storing data. So you can see here a home icon. That means you can store default data. When you export something, it will by default, it will go to this default geodatabase. Okay, so let's add some data from the folders. For that, we can connect folders into Pro using this connection here, folder connection. Already it contains our project. So let's expand it. So you'll be able to see some items. Actually, I demonstrated these items from the Windows Explorer also. Same things. But if you require to connect with another folder, you can right click and add the folder connection. So I would like to go to the PC desktop. There are some sample data in my desktop, student data. So I'll click on this and let's press OK. Okay. Now you can see here, the third folder, I have some data. So I'm going to expand that folder. And here you can see a geodatabase called production.gd. And also you can see some Excel sheets. And also there's a CSV file. So that means there are spatial and non-spatial data. So let's expand the geodatabase first. And here you can see a layer called Paddy Statistics. Let's add that layer here. You can drag and drop this data. So same way you can add the data from Add Data button. Here also you can add data. You can go to this PC, desktop, and then you can navigate and add the data. The same method will be able to add the layer. So now I have a layer here. So it is from my local computer from a folder. So let's check the attribute table. Let's open the attribute table. So in Pro, it's similar. You can right click and you will get a menu like this. Here you will be able to open attribute table from this menu. So in attribute table, you have fields and records. So when you take your mouse pointer, you can see the field type. So this is a short integer field. So when you scroll towards right-hand side, we'll be able to see a lot of data. Actually, these data sets join from an Excel sheet. When we are joining a data set, I think next there will be a small segment on joining data. So you need to have a unique identifier. Here there are districts, 25 districts. That means there should be a code for each district. And in the Excel also, there should be a code. So here that data is also there. Let's open it. So this is the data sheet. And here you can see a code for each district. And spatial data also, you should have a code, a similar code. Here you can see a code. So actually these two codes joined together and created this particular layer. So it's not a difficult task. You can right click and there's an option called join. Here we can add join and do the joining part. So I think it will be explained in the next session. So I'll just move with this data. So now you have a lot of attributes. So let's explore this attribute. To explore this, there are different options. Here, there are three ribbons: feature layer, labeling, and data. When you have a vector layer, there are related ribbons like this. These are called contextual ribbons. So let's start from the data ribbon. So this is all about attribute table and its functionalities. So you can open the attribute table also. And let's go to this one called data design. So that means you can design your attribute table from here. So let's go to the field section. Here you will be able to see different types of fields, the columns in the attribute table, as a table view, structure view. So this one here we can see district. It's a text field. The data type is text. Then when I scroll down, you can see total production. It's a long integer. It's a numerical data, numeric field. So there are some other fields with double. Double means decimal related numerical fields. So likewise, there are different fields, field types available in an attribute table. So if you want to add a new field, you can click here. So imagine you want to calculate the area. So you can say area, maybe square kilometers. I'll put a simple letter here. Then we can give a long name or maybe a display name here. And we can select the data type. So this type of numerical data, we can use double. So after having this, we can save this into the attribute table. So that means you can design your attribute table from this fields view. So let's open the attribute table again. Then you can see an empty field here. Those details. Right. So you can place the data in any place, maybe attribute table you can take into a different location and fix it. So there are some dockable windows, slots you can fix like this way. Or you can even use the attribute table as a window like this. So you have to drag this and drop it in a proper location, then it will display according to that. Right. So imagine you want to do a calculation. So before doing a calculation, maybe an area calculation, we should double check the properties of this layer. So let's go back to the properties. Let's check the data source. So spatial reference here is a local coordinate system. And also you can check the units of measurement and the other details of this particular coordinate system. So it's based on meters. So let's try to do a small calculation here. So you can right click on the layer, a particular field, then you can do various calculations. So there's an option for calculating fields. And also you can calculate the geometry. So let's calculate the geometry. So you have to assign the property here. So there are different properties. Let's say area. Then you have to define the area unit. So square kilometers. At the same time, if you need to calculate another parameter, you can also give that. Maybe perimeter you want. So let's check perimeter length. And units, maybe kilometers. So then we can apply and see. So what has happened here? So we only had one field, but now there's another field with the perimeter values as well. So in Pro, you can do multiple calculations at the same time using these geometry calculations. So now we have some extra fields apart from our original field set. So let's quickly do a classification of the data. Let's go to the feature layer. We have different attributes. So there's a symbology layer for the button. Now it is in the single symbol. The layer is symbolized in a single way. So let's go to the unique values. So this type of symbology, we have to give a categorical field, maybe districts. So there are names for the categorization, or you can use provinces. Let's check. So it will categorize according to the province names like this. So there are some more modifications. You can always modify this here. You can modify the colors. And also there are more options where you can do some other formatting of this data. So let's change this color scheme again. Or you can select a different field and see. According to that, it will categorize the data. So since we have some numerical values here, so let's go to the symbology again. We can use the graduated colors. Then we have to select a particular field with numerical data. So let's select a layer. Maybe we want to symbolize this layer according to the total production of this heading. So let's click here, and then we can select a method. By default, it will select natural breaks, but there are other methods also: quantile, equal interval, manual methods. Likewise, there are different classification methods. According to your data, you have to select the proper classification by considering your data ranges and values. And then also we have to use number of classes, again, depending on your data. And you can select a proper classification color scheme. So maybe we use something like some related color like green color. If not, you can search for more colors. And you can also define more colors. Right. So let's quickly do this symbology. And then these things we call panes. Symbology is a pane. So let's close this. And you can also label your data. So I'm moving into another ribbon called labeling. Here we can create some labels. Let's create some labels. Again, what we have to do here, we have to select a particular field like district. And you can adjust your layer, the symbols, and also the labels according to the your requirement, may be appearing in a different way. So you can use and see these changes. So you can select the fonts here. And these things are available as a ribbon and a tool group. So it's easy to change these text colors and styles according to your requirement. Okay, so now I have done some changes in this document. So I would like to save this again. Okay, so now I have a symbolized data according to the production. These are some statistics related to the rice cultivation. So imagine I want to do a selection. So actually, yes, I can do a selection from this map ribbon. If I want to select something in the map, on top of the map, you can use the selection tool here and select it like this way. So that is the general selection. If you want to select something based on the attribute, you can click here and then we can write a small query to do the selection. So here you can see the layer selected. So when you click on the select by attributes, the layer is selected and there's a clause we need to prepare. So here we have to give the proper field. So imagine we want to select a province. So let's click the province. Here there are operators, is equal, is not equal. Likewise, there are operators. And you can select a particular province and you can apply that. Now it has been, the query has been executed and you have a selection. So behind this query, you can always check the statement or the SQL command expression behind the selection method. But now it is become more user friendly. And if you want to add another clause here, you can add. Say, for example, you want to add another province. So let's use an operator here. If you use AND, the both criteria should match. Otherwise, you won't get a selection. If you used OR, then you can consider the both conditions. For example, province name is equal to maybe Northwest. So let's apply. Now you have the selection for 4 features. So you can see the both criteria has been taken. So like that way, we can do a selection from the attribute based method. After, if you don't require this selection, you easily clear this. There are some other methods. So here you can see different classifications. So let's see here. So you can select a particular category and say, select features in this class. So let's see what is happening. Now you can see immediately a selection based on your classification. So now it has selected according to this classified color or the criteria, the range. So after that, you can, if required, you can export this into a maybe an Excel sheet or whatever the method you want. Right. So like that way, there are some other new methods available for selecting the features. Okay, I'll clear everything. So imagine I want to take maybe a summary of data based on the provinces. So I would like to run a tool here to do that. So if you want to run a particular tool and derive an output, we have to use a ribbon called analysis. So let's click on this ribbon. So this ribbon contains different tools for analysis and developing models. So here you can see the ModelBuilder. It can combine tools and do certain analysis. Then you have certain Python related applications. And also there are default tools that is called geoprocessing tools. So let's click on this button. Then you will receive a pane called geoprocessing pane. This pane, there are three items. One is favorites, the other one is toolboxes, and also there are portal tools. So let's click here. You can type a keyword. So I want to have a data according to the province, not the districts. So I'm going to dissolve the boundaries of these districts into provinces. So therefore, I want to check the keyword dissolve. So if you know a keyword, you can type and search. So when you type a keyword like that, a related tool can appear like this way. So what is a tool? So if you don't know about a tool, you can right click immediately and check the help. So my recommendation is not to run any tool without a blind understanding, right? So without proper understanding, you should not run a tool. Tool can get the input and give you an output, but if you are not aware about the tool, if you are just using the tool and taking outputs, that's incorrect. You can get different errors also. You will get a result anyway. So it's better to run a tool with the particular understanding about the functionality. And you have to double check again whether it's correct. So here you can right click and read a little bit about tool. If you know the tool very well, then you can run it. And then it will ask you some parameters. In Pro, you will get the same window, geoprocessing window, without having another window covering your screen. You can use the inputs and outputs and run the tool. So you can just drag these layers and drop as inputs like this. Or there's a drop down for selecting the input. Then output will be stored in a location. By default, it will go to your geo database. You can always rename these layers. So I'm not going to rename now. Then the most important thing here, we have to dissolve the data according to a particular, maybe the province name. So then at the same time, I want to consider some statistics. So let's consider maybe the total production, metric tons, and sum of that. So we can take various other statistical things, but I'm going to take the sum. So I'm running this tool now. So there's a run button at the bottom. So we can click and run the tool. So now I have received another layer as an output like this. And also I want to export this data into Excel sheet. Let's export it. So I want to export the layer into an Excel sheet. So for that, we can search Excel related tools. So there are a lot of tools. There's a tool called table to Excel. So it converts a table to Microsoft Excel file. Let's convert. So this input, I want to see the dissolve layer. And let's save the output. Maybe in my desktop. I will use letter A for naming this file. And I'm going to run the tool. Okay, now you can see a link here, view details. And here you can see the tools I have used in the history. So we can take the also. There's a history button. For before, let me go back to my desktop. So here you can see my output, the province wise, the data, the total production is summarized here. So that output has been created. So imagine you are doing the same thing again and again, right? So let's check the tool, the workflow, which I have used. I have used several tools now, but last two tools, imagine I'm doing again and again, maybe in daily routine, I'm doing the same thing. So what we can do when you are having this type of workflow, maybe we can select these two tools like this. We can right click on the history and say add to model. So let's add that to a workflow like this. So now you have a model here. So here you can see you are having the paddy statistics layer. It is dissolved. So you are going to use the dissolve layer and you are going to export that into an Excel sheet. And the file name is also given as A. So maybe we can change these things. Maybe you can browse and we give a different name because we have already created a file called A. So this is a workflow now. So I'm going to save this workflow, the model, and let's validate it. So several steps are linked together. We can run and see. So it's running. Let's run. So let's minimize and you can see the same output here as B. The same thing. So likewise, if you have worked with several tools, maybe 10 tools, so you can run this again as a model. Maybe you can change the parameter. I just changed the name here and took the output again. So likewise, you can develop different models to run these applications. So your model will be available in this project after saving your model canvas. This is the canvas window. It has been created as a model inside this view. Right, let's save it. So from here also you can run it as a tool. Okay. So not only this type of model, you can right click and maybe you can execute this through a Python window. So let's click here. Here again, you can see the scripting related to these tools. So it's a Python console. Here you can see different parameters. If you are familiar with Python, you can do further changes here and you can run this. So it will dissolve and do various things after running the tool. Okay, so like that way, you can execute the tools and also you can use that history to create models for your workflow automation activities. Right. So let's save my project again. So let's quickly go back to the other parts. So when you have a project like this way, sometimes you may need to share this, maybe with different stakeholders. So there are a lot of ways of sharing a project. So there are methods called packages. So you can package your project and upload or email with data and these symbols and everything. So that is called a project package. So let's create this package here. So I'm going to pack everything and share. So let's say create. So you can actually upload this package directly to my online account and share. Or maybe I can package this as a file. Both are possible. So when you are doing a package, you can always give some metadata, summaries. So that means maybe a, maybe a regional officer or any other person can use the same data, same outputs, and do some other analysis, not doing the same thing again and again. So let's analyze. So there are some tags also. Tags means some keywords. When you upload web content, we always ask keywords. And also we can mention the sharing of the data, sharing levels, maybe everyone public. So likewise, you can set these parameters and we have to analyze. So what is our purpose? Is to share this particular document with you. So let's click on the package. So it's asking to do a package. And there are some changes. We have to save it first. Then it will do a packaging of the project and upload it into the ArcGIS online environment. So what is this ArcGIS online environment? So actually tomorrow you will have more interaction on that. So it's a web-based platform for sharing data and creating various WebGIS outputs. So it's a website. So let's click here. So this is our ArcGIS online account. It's totally web-based application. So in this process, it will upload into ArcGIS online environment. And when you click on it, the results, here there's a link. There's a link always to guide you after particular analysis. So now you can see this package. So what I can do, actually, I can share this package with you. Let's use the chat window. If it is shared with public, you will be also able to access my package. Right. Okay. So that way, you can share your outputs with other parties using this Pro environment. So similar to that, so we have more features of creating web applications. Then what we do using this share menu, we can create web maps. So that is more interactive map. So for that, we can use this share button and web map option. Earlier one, actually, I packaged everything for a user who are using Pro, and he can open and work on that project. Now I'm going to consider the other users. And I'm going to give some tags again, because there can be users without much GIS knowledge. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share a web map with them. But here this is little complicated because there are some other things we need. When I'm analyzing this, there can be errors now. So let's analyze quickly. Now I'm getting an error because I'm not having a background map here, base map. It is asking my base map. So let's add the base map first. Maybe a simple base map like this. We can analyze again. So there are some errors. So here, this type of workflow, we can always check the error. And maybe we can right click the error. So there's a thing called coordinate system warning. So we need to align with the base map. So I'm going to use this suggestion here. So let's align that with the base map coordinate system. For this layer also, I have to do that. And let's see some more issues. So there's a ID related thing. So again, I'm going to use a suggestion here. So if we have a very, different errors, we have to double check. Maybe we can create the error code in the internet and check the errors and see. So if there are no errors, we can publish and see the result. So let's click share. So what is happening in the background? It's again taking these layers, base map, and this map view. So this map view now in the desktop application. Now it is packaging everything and creating a web map in the WebGIS environment. For that, we have already connected with an account here called ArcGIS Online. So that's why we can publish directly into that particular environment. So there are two different methods. One is cloud-based online environment. The other method is on-premises WebGIS environment. That is called ArcGIS Enterprise. Both ways we can publish web maps into a portal environment. So it will take little time into the internet connectivity. It should come in the ArcGIS online environment here. So let me sign in to that environment. So I'm going to sign in. So I think it has been published now. So let's click and see this map. So the package option, we could only see a download. Here we can open this map. Let's open. So you can see a web map now directly created from Pro. So I'll share that with you. So you can experience that. So it should be shared with public. Then only you can have this. So I already shared. Maybe if it is not shared, you can't access it. So the whole idea is to share the data. So you can derive the information. So when we are doing this in the professional way, we have to create nice pop-ups and labels and everything in a smooth way when you are publishing data. So in this session, my expectation is to guide you from some basic stuff in Pro, like symbology, and towards some advanced features like data sharing and basics of automation or creating workflows using the software and the tools. So with that, I think the first session we can have a break. So maybe 10-minute break. After that, we can continue for some little time. Then we can finish the day one with that second part. So I hope you got something from here. So after the end of the session, we'll have some small time for the question and answers. So let's take a small break, like 10-minute break. And after that, we'll have the second part. Chamodani මේ ඇහෙනවා
Good morning, everyone. I think we can start the second part of today's session. And I hope everyone can hear me and see my screen as well. Right. So I'm Chamodani Wijesinghe, working as the technical manager and also a trainer at GIS Solutions Company. So I hope you already have better understand about the GIS technology and also the interface of ArcGIS Pro software. And I think you have gained some basic things about the layer and do symbology, and also you have learned about some advanced tools. Right. So I will continue today's session by focusing more practical aspects. So, and also after this session, you will have some clear understand about how you can work with this data and make it more meaningful and presentable. Right. So in this second part of this today's session, I will demonstrate about how you can add a new Excel sheet, and also how you can join Excel sheet to the existing data set, and finally how we can create a professional map layout. So this will give you a complete idea of how to move from just adding data into actual creating a useful and professional output using the latest version of ArcGIS, right? All right, so we can start with adding a new Excel sheet. I hope you can see my screen. If you can't see my screen, please let me know, right? Okay, so you already know how to create a project and how to add layers and how to connect the catalog pane also, right? So already I have connected my our student data folder into the catalog, and there are some additional data folders in this folder calling preparing layout and add Excel data folders. Right. So now I want to add a new Excel sheet into this ArcGIS Pro environment, right? So I'm going to open that Excel sheet in my folder, right? So this is the folder, add new Excel sheet. And here we have the Excel sheet. Yeah, we have some data set, the point data set with longitude and latitude. So we want to add this point data set as a point layer into the ArcGIS Pro software, right? So how we can add this Excel sheet? So before going to add this Excel sheet, we can save this Excel file as a CSV file format because it's supported in the ArcGIS Pro software. Sometimes if you have not installed the Microsoft Excel in proper way, so you have missed some files. So then it will show you some errors, right? So then you can save this Excel sheet in this format. It's calling CSV command emitter. So it's supported to the ArcGIS Pro software, right? So after you have saved this Excel sheet as a CSV file, so it shows like this .csv file. Right. Then we can add it into the ArcGIS Pro software. Right. Okay, so I'm going to add the Excel sheet from the catalog pane. So how we can add, we can go to the folder and select the add new Excel sheet folder, and under the Excel sheet folder, you can add this town file CSV file into the content pane. Right. So this is, so now this is kind of a table, right? It's working as a standalone table. So it's, so how we can convert this table as a point layer, right? So still we don't have any attribute table or something, right? It's just working as a standalone table, but we can open this table by right click on this table name and open and see what are the data available, right? So longitude, latitude, and other district and town names are available like this, right? So now we can right. So convert this data into the spatial data. Now we want to create a point layer. So we want to convert this data into spatial data. So definitely we need coordinates, right? Longitudes and latitudes, we need the coordinates, right? So then I'm going to add this table as a point layer by click on this table and right click, and you can see create points from table, and the option is available XY table to point, right? Right. Then you will see a pane like this, XY table to point. Right. So here we have to set what is the input table. It's defaultly selected the town files, or if you want to change it, you can change from here. And what is the output feature class name? So if you want to save this, so because this now when we are creating this data into a spatial data, it will create as a shapefile. Then you have to save this in a particular location, right? So using this file location, you can save it in your computer or laptop, and you can give a name here, right? So I'm not going to change the path, but I'm going to change the shapefile name as town, right? Okay. So then you can change the X field and Y field, X field as longitude and Y field as latitude. And I'm putting the other things as default, and the coordinates is system set as to WGS 1984. Right, in most cases for the longitude and latitude, we use WGS 1984. Right, so all the parameters are set like this, and now I'm going to run this tool by clicking OK. Right, once your tool has successfully run, it will show you this kind of message, XY table to point is completed. Right, now you can see the point layer has created like this, and it's appear on the map like this. Right, now this is a separate shapefile, right? So you can do the, you can open the attribute table like this, right? And you can do the symbology, labeling, or whatever the analysis, you can apply any analysis, right? So these things you can do with adding a Excel sheet, right? So now let's look at the second part. What is that? It's joining an Excel table to an existing layer, right? Now what we are going to do, we are going to join an Excel table to an existing layer, right? So earlier we did a new Excel sheet, we add a new Excel sheet into the software. But now we are going to do join an Excel table to an existing layer. Right, before going to do that, I'm going to add a shape file, right, under the prepare and layout folder. Right, I'm going to add this shape file called Sri Lanka district shape file. Right, and I'm going to tick off the previous layer, town layer, right? Okay, now I have the Sri Lanka district shape file, and we can see what are the data available in the attribute table. So it's a very simple data set. It's having province name, district name, and ID, like things, right? Okay, so, and I have given some Excel sheet, right, in the 5th folder, at the Excel data folder, under the join Excel sheet folder. So you will see there's an Excel sheet called population data, right? Right, I'm having the 25 district data with having some population data, right? Female means population, male population and female population data. So I want to join this data into the district, Sri Lanka district shape file, into this shape file, right? I want to join that Excel sheet here, that population data, right? So how we can do that? So we need to do both data sets. The Excel sheet and the attribute table should have a common field, like a district or a ID or anything, right? Code, right? So if there are no common field, then you have to prepare a common field for both the attribute table and the Excel sheet, right? So here you can see we can join the table using district, right? In the Excel sheet also, you have seen it has the district name, right? District name. Yeah. And also, we have another common column called object ID. It's having the numbers 1 to 25, right? In the attribute table also, we are having that column, right? 1 to 25, right? So we can join this table using either the district field or either ID, object ID column. So, however, using this district field may sometimes cause some issues, right? So, what are the issues? So, this is because the district field is a text data type, right? So once you go into when you click on top of the district field, you will see the data type is text, right? So for example, in one table, this district name might be written as Anuradhapura with these correct letters, right? But in the other table, we can assume in the Excel sheet, it could be misplaced, right? Having missing some letters or including some extra letters. So even small difference in spelling will prevent the join from working correctly. So as a result, when you apply the join, some records may not match. And also you may see some missing or incorrect data. So the best practice is to use numeric field, right, with unique values such as ID or like kind of ID, right? So example 1, 2, 3, right? The numeric fields are more reliable and reduce the chances of errors during the join process, right? So Now to join this data, I will right click on the layer on this content pane, and you will see the option list like this, and under the join and relates, you will see add join, right? So now I'm going to join this attribute table into that Excel sheet with using this object ID because it's the unique value column, right? So then you will see the input table as the Sri Lanka district shapefile. It's correct. And the input field, which field we are going to join, you can select what is the field. It's also defaultly correct set. And what is the joining table, right? So still we have not add the population data table into the content pane. So what we should do, firstly we have to add that Excel sheet, the CSV file, sorry, the Sri Lanka population CSV file into the content pane, right? So I'm going to the catalog and adding this population data Excel file into the content pane. So it's also now visualizing as a standalone table. If you want, you can select this layer and right click and open this Excel sheet and see what are the data available. Right. Now we have the Excel sheet and also the shapefile. Now we can join. Right. So firstly, we should select the existing shapefile, which shapefile we want to join this Excel sheet, and then right click and going to join and relates and add join. Right. So input table is correct, input field is correct, and joining table. So this is the previous table, town file. So I want to select it as population data CSV table. And the joining field also should be set as to object ID. Right. So I'm keeping other things as default and going to run this too. Right. So when your join is successfully done, the message will come like this. Right. Then we can go to the attribute table and see the join, the Excel sheet join has successfully completed or not. Yeah, we can see the population data has been joined. Right. So now we know how we can add Excel sheet, a new Excel sheet, and how we can add how we can join an Excel sheet into the existing layer. Right. So this kind of joining Excel sheet will be more important for when you are doing some organization related works, because you are keeping some data in the Excel sheet, you are updating the data in the Excel sheet, but you don't know how to convert this Excel sheet as a spatial data. So I hope these tools will be useful to you all, how you can work with when you are working with this spatial data. Right. So now we can move into the how we can prepare a professional map layout. Right. So before going to prepare a map layout, I will quickly symbolize this shape file, the Sri Lanka district shape file, right? So you already know how you can do the symbology and the labeling things. But before going to prepare a layout, I will quickly symbology this shape file, right? So before going to do the symbology, we can have a look what kind of data we are having. We are having district, province, and also male, female population, right? So now I want to visualize, I want to symbology total population in each district, right? But we are having male and female population in separate fields, right? So how we can do that, right? I want the total population. So you all know how we can take the male, how we can take the total population, right? We can, what we can do. We can add the male population into the female population, right? So how we can do? In the first session, you have learn about, you can prepare more fields, right? You can prepare more fields by clicking add new fields, and then you can go for the calculations, right? In this software, you no need to calculate one by one record by one. You don't need to calculate, right? We can write some kind of a formula, and it's automatically applying into every record, right? So let's quickly see how we can do that. So first, I'm going to add a new field, right? We click on this add button, and then we can rename it as the total population. I'm not going to type all the letters here, and you can set the data type. In the morning, you have learned about these data types, right? So for the numeric data, we can use short and long type. I'm going to click on this long, and when you did some editing to the original data set, then you have to save this data, right? Then I'm going back to the attribute table, and we'll check that new field has created or not. Yeah, now it has prepared like this, right? In the morning, you have calculated the geometric properties, right? The kind of area, you have calculated the area. So now this is not the geometric properties, right? So this is kind of a field values, right? So how we can calculate this total population, right? So you can go to the field and right click and see what are the options available, right? So morning we used the calculate geometric option. Now we are going to calculate the fields, right? So we are going to do some calculation between the fields. So then we can use this calculate field option, right? Then you will see the pane like this, and the input table is set as Sri Lanka district. It's correct. And the field name is total population, which we have created now. And the expression type is Python. We no need to change these types, right? Okay, so if you have some idea about that, the expressions or some codings, then you can type in this area. But for a normal user, we can type this is a very simple formula, right? So how we can type this total population is equal by a male population plus female population, right? Then we can apply this tool and see this had been applied or not, right? Now it's the calculation has applied into every record, right? So see, this is very simple to do to everyone, right? Okay, so now we are having the total population, and we need to visualize this total population in this map, right? So you already know how we can do the symbology. So I'm quickly going to do symbology. So in the morning session, in the PADI layer, you have did this symbology. So what kind of symbology method we can apply, right? So this is, now we are going to visualize population data. Is it a numeric data, right? Yeah, so we want to show this population data as a classes, right? As classes. So then we can go kind of a quantity symbology by your layer by quantity option. Then I'm going to select this graduate colors option, right? Then you can select the field. I'm going to change it to total population, and going to change the classes, right? It default is select 5. If you want, you can change it into 4 or 6, right? I think 5 is enough. So I'm going to set it as 5 and change the color scheme. Normally we are visualizing population data in red color, red to yellow color. Right. So now this is fine. Right. Okay. So if you want to change the color in each class interval, in each class, then you can right click in this color pane and change the color. Right. Okay. So I'm quickly going to add the labelings also. So I'm going to labeling ribbon. So you already know how you can add the labeling. So firstly, we have to tick on the labeling option, and we are in the class 1, label class 1, and we can set what is the field, right? So we want to visualize the district name. Right, okay, so if you want to increase the font size, can increase, and you can change the colors of the letters and the text font types. And if you want to place it as like in this way, then you can click on this placement styles, right? And yeah. And also, if you want to put 2 labels, right? If you want to show 2 attribute data in the map, you can do that, right? In 2 or more labels, right? So how we can do that? We can prepare a new class here, right? In the labeling section, you can go to the class, and with using this drop down, you can create a label class, new class. Right, so how we can do that? You can give any name here. I'm putting the class 2, okay? And then we can select which field you want to visualize. I want to set the total population, right? Now see, in the Anuradhapura district, we can see the district name and also the total population value, right? 2 labels we can appear, right? So I'm going to change the color in that total population because both labels are in black color. So I'm put it in blue color and reduce the font size. Right. So you can prepare the map like this way, right? Okay. So now we can go how we can prepare a map layout, right? So don't forget to save your project when you are doing your works like this, right? Using this save button, please save your project, right? Okay. So now we are going to create a map layout out. So it's very important when we want to present or share our map in a professional way, right? So far we have been working in this map view mainly for the analysis or some symbology or labeling things. But when it comes to presenting results, or like kind of if you want to put the map into a report, or you are going to do a presentation or kind of printing, right? So we need a proper layout, right? So a well-prepared map layout helps others to easily understand the information we are trying to communicate. Right? It provides context and some improve the readability, right? So makes the map more professional and meaningful. So without a layout, a map may look kind of incomplete, right? So far we have been working in this map view, but now we want to present our map in a proper format with the suitable map elements, right? So I think you have heard about the map elements, right? Cartographic principles, things, right kind of a map title, legend, scale, right? There are a lot of map elements, right? So to create that map layout, I'm going to the insert ribbon, right? In that insert ribbon, you will see new layout. In this ArcGIS Pro, you can keep separate map layouts, and also you can keep separate map layouts, right? So if you want to add new maps, you can add new maps from here. And also you can, if you want to add new layouts, you can add layouts from here, right? So first, when you click on this new layout, you have to select the page size and the set. So I'm going to select this portrait A4 size. Right, so now you can see a blank page like this, right? So this is our layout view. The first thing we need to do is add the map layout. Sorry, we need to add the map into this layout, right? So from where we can add the map. In this map view, we have prepared the nice map, the population map, right? So here, in the layout, we want to add that map view, right? So how we can do that? Now you are already in the insert ribbon, and you will see some new tools have been opened. When you open a layout, when you create a layout, then these kind of tools have been added into your insert ribbon, right? So in this insert ribbon, you can see there's two options called map frame. Using this map frame, you can add your maps, right? So we'll see what are the maps available, right? So this is the map we want to add into the layout. Right, so I'm going to select on this map and draw it on this page like this. So there's a difference between ArcMap. ArcMap means the previous version, the old version, and also the ArcGIS Pro. You can select whatever the map elements from the insert ribbon, and you can add the any elements, and you can draw it in the layout. Right? In the previous version, when you click on one element, it will go somewhere else and we have to find it, right? But in this ArcGIS Pro version, you can select any element from here and draw it in this layout view. Right. Now our population map is displayed inside in the layout. Right. So now I want to zoom this map into my layer, right? That what does it mean? I want to take the pan icon, right? I want to zoom it and I want to move the map into the right or left side. So how we can do that? Now I just add the map frame, but I want to zoom and move the map, right? So to that, you can just select the map frame and right click like this, and you can activate this map frame. Right? So when you click on that activate button, now you can see the pan tool has been activated, right? Now what you can do, you can zoom like this and you can zoom out, you can move this map with click, right? Right? Okay. Okay, you can set the map into the layer. So once you're moving or zooming or things over, you can close this activation button. Right? You can close this activation button. Then the map is set as like this. Right? Again, if you want to move or zoom the map in, then you can activate the frame by right click on this frame and then click the activate button. Right. So now I want to add the basic element, right? What is that? I want to set the map title, right? I want to set the map title into this map layout. So how we can add it? So you can go to the insert ribbon and see, is there any text element is available? Then you will see graphic and text tool group, right? From here, you can add a text, right? Any text format you can select from here. I'm going to select this text style, and I think you remember what I have said earlier. You can select any element from the ribbon and you can draw like this, right? Okay. Right. So if you double click on this element, text or any element, you will see in the right side the properties, the element properties are opening like this kind of a pane, right? So you can do the further settings. You can do this formatting things, text. You can change the symbol types, change the text sizes and the things. There are a lot of things you can change from using this properties pane, right? Or you can see if you are adding this element, it will goes to the content pane, right? The text and the map frame. When you are adding the elements, it's coming to the content pane also. So if you want to open the properties, right? So you can just click on this layer and right click, and then you will see on the bottom the properties. From here also you can open this properties pane, right? So now I'm going to type the map title, right? Population. So whatever name you can type like this, right? So then if you want to set the topic like this, you can drag like this, okay? And you can center like this, right? You can do the modifications. Right. So in this properties pane, you can see, right? You can do the placements, you can change the size, width, height, with the width and height. And if you want, you can change the position of the letters, right? If you want, you can rotate the letters. And when you go to the text symbol option here, right? So appearance things you can change the font style, font size, and font color, outline color, filling color, right? There are a lot of things you can change, right? So you can go to these tools and then see what are the options available, right? Alignments, vertical, horizontal alignments. There are a lot of things you can change, right? So then you can, on this auto apply button, then it's all automatically apply when you did the any change, right? So now I have set the map title like this, right? So now I want to add more element like north arrow, right? So north arrow is also important thing when we want to say the direction of this map, right? So here in this insert ribbon, you will see maps around tool group. In this maps around tool group, you will see north arrow, some kind of chart, tables, scales options available, right? In the north arrow, I'm going to select any style, right? Any style you can select, right? I'm going to select this north arrow and draw like this, right? You can select any place in this map frame and draw the north arrow like this, right? So in this north arrow also, you can go to the properties. Once you take any element from the insert ribbon, the properties pane also all automatically open in the right side, right? And also it's coming to the content pane also, right? Can you see? Yeah, right. So in this note there also you can do some changes. You can put a border, you can change the colors, background, right? Anything you can do, right? Okay. Now I'm going to add another important map element. It's called, what is that? Scale bar. Yeah, scale bar is also important when you are going to prepare a professional map layout. We should say what was the scale we have used to prepare this map, right? So in here, in the same tool group, maps around, there's a element called map scale. Then you can select any scale, right? So here I'm going to select the metric scale style. The first one, right? I have select this tool and going to draw like this, right? So if you want to see perfectly, you can zoom like this and drag this scale bar like this, right? Okay. Anywhere you can set the scale bar like this. In the scale bar also, you can see the properties pane has opened like this, and then you can do some changes, right? So I want to remove these kilometers, that the word. I want to set it as just km, right? We no need to add more letters in the map. So I'm going to scale bar properties and see from where I can change that here, right? Under the map units, you can set what is the measuring unit, right? It's set as kilometers, and the label in text label things I can change, right? So I'm going to change it into km, right? And type km. Then you can see it's also changing in the map, right? Okay. So there are some another editing things also you can do. If you want, you can set a border and put a background color, right? Like there are so many things you can prepare this map very nice in a very nice way, right? With using these editing tools, right? So I'm going to just set like this, and right. So now I'm going to add so just think, if you want to add this scale as text, right? So if you want to add if you want to add the scale in both way, in a scale bar and also scale text, right? So here you can see what are the scale we have used to prepare that map view, right? In the map view, if you go to the map view, you will see when you zoom out, the scale is changing, right? Okay, so then you can just copy this scale from here, right? You can just select this scale in the layout and right click and copy. And then you can go to the layout view and paste it, right? Right, it's coming like this. And you can put this scale text like this, right? Okay. Like this, if you want to put the source or any information, if you want to put any description about this map, right, or any your organization logo, university logo and things, then you can add it as a text, right? So first, like the way we add the map title from this graphic and text, you can go to the graphic and text, then you can add just as a text, and then you can type any description or anything, right? Or you want to add the organization logo and university logo thing, then you can go to this picture tool and then you can add this, right? Okay. Right. Now I'm going the most important map element is the legend, right? So we need a legend to understand about what kind of information we have presented, right? So to do that, I'm going to the same tool group, map surrounds, and see there's a legend tool is available right here, new legend, right? So you can click here and you can select any template from here and just you can draw the legend in the map frame, right? See, like this. Okay. Right. Now you can do further settings, right? You can modify this legend, right? So when you take the legend from legend icon from the ribbon and draw like here, and then you can see the legend properties have already opened in the right side, right? So I want to change some kind of, I want to put a border into this legend, right? Under this legend properties, you can see with this pencil icon, like this tool called display, right? This tool called display. So in this display tool, I can set a border into this legend, right? So I'm going to the border and select this color pane and put a border like this, right? Right. And also if you want, you can put a background color, right? Very dark color like this. The color you can apply, right? Right. So if you want, you can put some kind of a gap, right? Then if you want to increase the border gap, X and Y gap like this, right? And in the background also, you can see, right? Okay. Right. Now our legend is like this, but you can see that legend layer names are displaying in not a nice way, right? She dash Lanka dash like kind of. So then we can change these layer names, right? So how we can do that? We can go to the legends settings and under the options tool, you can see there are some advanced properties, right? Legend items, advanced properties. So you can go to that advanced properties and you can tick off what are the layers you want to display or not, right? Then I am tick off this labeling like this, right? And from here, in the content pane, you can change the layer name like this, right? You can remove the underscore and set like this. Now the legend is created like this, right? Okay. So now I want to move my Sri Lankan, the Sri Lanka map into left way. So I'm going to activate the frame again and move like this and close the activation button. Right. Right. So this kind of elements you can add into the map layout. So finally, I want to add one more element, right? It's also very important. It's the grid, right? Grid means what? We want to show the coordinates. What are the coordinates we have? In which coordinates setting in this map, right? So how we can go set the grid, right? So you can go to the insert ribbon and go to the map frames and see there's a tool called grid, right? Okay, so then you can select any grid style like longitude, latitude, like graticule, measuring grid, right? Any tool you can choose. So I'm going to just click on this style. Now it has applied like this, right? So it's in blue color and insides also there are some grids have applied, right? So we can do the modification with using this properties pane, right? It's automatically opening the properties pane in right side. So I'm going down and change the symbol color into black color, right? And I want to go to the components to options, right? In the map grid properties, in the components, you can remove the ticks, right? And the grid lines. Now it says removed, right? Okay. So if you want to change the text also, the text colors, these longitude, latitudes colors also, text colors, you can select from here the labels in this using this drop down, and then you can change the color from here. Right now it has applied like this. If you want to change this, what we can call like ticks, right? Ticks colors also you can change. It's in the blue color. If you want to apply it into black color, you can select from here ticks. Then you can change the color into black, right? Okay. So you can change the intervals from here. There are a lot of things you can do, right? Okay. So we have prepared the map layout like this. And there are many more tools you can modify these tools, and also if you want you can add more elements, right? If you have prepared a chart, then you can add a chart into the map layout, right? Right. So all these elements and also all these elements can be moved and resized and also aligned. You can set the alignments if you need it, right? So you can just click and drag these elements to reposition them and use alignment tools to organize your layout neatly, right? So also be selecting any element, you can open this properties pane to adjust detailed properties. Then you can change the color, font, like position sticks, right? So overall, this map layout helps you to present your data in clear and professional way by combining different elements, right? Okay, so once your layout is ready like this, then you can export this map layout to share, right? You can share it as a PDF or JPG or whatever the format, you can share this map layout. So how you can do that? Then you can go to the share ribbon, right? In the morning session, you have learned about how to share the map as a package. Now you are going to share this map layout as a PDF or JPG or whatever format, right? In this share ribbon, you can see there's a tool group called output. In the output, you can select the export layout tool. Right from here, you can see what are the formats available to export this layout, right? So there are a lot of way to export your layout, and the place you want to save this layout, right? Where you want to save this map layout, and then you can change the resolution and the things also, right? Okay. Then after the changes, then if you want, you can see the presets also, or you can just export, right? Right. So once your export has completed, it will show a message like this. From here also you can open the exported layout, right? Right. My layout set like this. And yeah, this is the layout, right? So it's not nice actually. That grid also has cut into the boundary, right? You can prepare the map layout very nice with considering the all things, right? The grid and the things, right? Okay. Right. So now I think now it's time has come to wind up this session, right? So with that, we have come to the end of the today's session. So before we finish, let me brief what we did today, right? Briefly summarize what we covered today. So we started with the basics of GIS Pro. Then you have, I think you all have some good idea about how to create a project and how to add data and work with these layers, and also some tools, some advanced tools, sharing tools, and also you have some basic idea about what is the ArcGIS online platform, right? So finally, you have learn about how you can prepare a professional map layout. So overall, I think today's session you have focused on giving your practical introduction to ArcGIS Pro and how you can use it in your day-to-day work. Right. So one of the main objective of this organizing this session, kind of a free session, is to create awareness about this latest capabilities of the ArcGIS Pro version. Right. So as you may already know that ArcMap has already reached to into its life cycle, right? So it's moving forward. So it's important to migrate into this latest version. So it's very more advanced platform. So as the sole distributor in Sri Lanka, so we have a responsibility to support and guide our users to adopting these new technologies and make the most out of them, right? Okay, so if you already have access to ArcGIS Pro, we highly encourage you to start using this latest version and explore these capabilities, right? So if you are still using older versions, so if you would like to upgrade the versions and if you need any support from us, then please contact our organization. Right, I think we have come to the end of, now it's time to wind up our first day session. And just quick reminder, so we have another session scheduled tomorrow at the same time, right? So it's about ArcGIS online platform. So you will learn about more things, what you can do in this ArcGIS online platform, right? So how you can use WebGIS tools without installing software, right? Without installing software like ArcGIS Pro, then how you can collect location-based data and visualize and monitor data, right? In real time, how you can visualize and monitor the real-time data using dashboards, right? And understand different applications you can build using the cloud-based GIS tools, right? So I believe tomorrow's session will also be very useful and interesting for you all. So thank you all for your participation today and hope to see you again tomorrow also.